tonight on CBC Vancouver News.
Our first priority is really to establish communication with these individuals.
Rescue crews work to reach 3 drillers trapped in a northern BC mine. Plus,
I just heard like 3 gunshots.
3 people dead in Maple Ridge. Mounties say it appears to have been sparked by a fight between neighbors.
We didn't expect, this kind of drama in the neighborhood.
And
very concerning when somebody decides to take their hate or biased opinion to a place of worship where people should feel safe.
2 so-called street preachers have been charged with hate crimes in BC.
This is CBC Vancouver News.
Hello, I'm Dan Burritt. Thanks for joining us. Efforts have begun to rescue 3 drillers trapped at the Red Chris mine in northern BC. The company, Newmont Corporation, is also trying to reestablish communication with that trio. Mira Baines joins us with more. Mira, what more does the company say?
Emergency response teams and geotechnical engineering experts have arrived at the site. The company has been in contact with the families of the drillers. Newmont says debris 20 to 30 meters long and 7 to 8 meters high has cut off access. And specialized drones have been sent in to assess the geotechnical conditions underground. Newmont says the planning and the execution of this rescue is so important, so they don't want to give a timeline for the rescue, but they emphasize they understand the urgency of the situation. The company says the workers have food, water, and air for about 16 people for 48 hours, and there are 11 other bays with supplies and reinforced structures. So an investigation will happen after the rescue into what happened, how, and the company did not want to speculate at this point. Take a listen to the head of safety and security with Newmont.
Geotechnical specialists, as I say, they continue to monitor as we are cleaning the debris, assessing the situation, making sure that it stays stable. I think the important thing is here that we are working together to identify the plan for the safest access road for these individuals.
The company plans to give regular updates with another one scheduled for Friday morning.
Mira, the mine is a major employer in that area near Dease Lake. How are people in that community reacting?
The company says the families are being provided with updates about the rescue, and we learned about the first incident that it happened around 7 a.m. Tuesday. So that's how long it's been for them being trapped underground, about 284 meters in. People in the community, as you can imagine, are worried for them. Here's what one man had to say.
I know Cap is a pretty eerie place right now. There's a lot of stressed people here, so I have lots of family members who are miners too, and they're pretty much in shock too with what's going on here.
Mention the psychological stress that these workers may also be experiencing. Counselors are being made available by the company for people struggling with what happened.
Mira Baines, thanks very much. A neighborhood in Maple Ridge is in shock. 3 people are dead just hours after officers responded to some kind of dispute. John Hernandez takes us through the unsettling events and who is investigating what.
In this quiet suburban community, utter shock. 3 people dead, 2 cars up in flames, all following a neighborhood dispute.
Well, I see it on the news, but you don't expect it here.
Police were originally called to this street in Maple Ridge, about an hour east of Vancouver, on Wednesday evening because of a conflict between neighbors.
They spoke to people involved in an incident before leaving a short time later.
Then 3 hours later, around 10:45 p.m., residents heard gunshots, then 2 cars were set on fire.
We were sleeping outside on her trampoline, and we just heard 3 gunshots.
Went outside, and then the neighbor started telling me he's shooting, and kind of rounded everybody up, got him back inside.
Police found a couple in their 60s and a dog dead inside this home, the same home officers had responded to hours earlier. The suspect fled across the street.
Officers did set up a containment around that residence at the time. And then this morning at around 2:10, a man was found deceased inside that home from what appears to be, at this point, a self-inflicted injury.
Residents in the community say the victims were well known and lived across the street from the male suspect. The households said to have butted heads over street parking in the past.
A little shaken up. We moved about 4 months ago here, and we didn't expect this kind of drama in the neighborhood.
Police are asking any witnesses to come forward. Meanwhile, BC's police watchdog is trying to figure out if there's a connection between the original police response and the violent events that followed that night. John Hernandez, CBC News, Maple Ridge.
It was the second day of a court hearing to determine if the accused man in the Lapu Lapu Day festival attack is fit to stand trial. Kai G. Adam Lowe is charged with killing 11 people and injuring dozens more back in late April. Karen Larson has more.
Unlike day one of this hearing at Vancouver Provincial Court, Kai G. Adam Lowe did not appear in person. Rather, he appeared via video from where he's being held in custody. The purpose of these proceedings is for Judge Reginald Harris to determine if Lowe is fit to stand trial on the 11 second-degree murder charges he's facing. On April 26, Lowe is alleged to have driven his SUV into a crowd at the Lapu Lapu Filipino Festival in Vancouver, killing 11 and injuring dozens more. After he was arrested, it was revealed that Lowe was under the care of a mental health team, although the question here is whether he is fit to stand trial in the present time. So far in proceedings, we've heard from 2 witnesses, both psychiatric doctors who evaluated Lowe, one at the request of the court, the other at the request of Lowe's defense counsel. There is a publication ban preventing media from reporting evidence presented at this trial, although a media consortium, including CBC, is challenging that ban. Karen Larson, CBC News, Vancouver.
On Wednesday, we brought you new data from BC's Ministry of Health that is shedding light on the state of emergency rooms in our province. It reveals a dramatic spike in patients leaving before they're seen by a healthcare practitioner. Michelle Gassoub has been digging further into the numbers and what's caused such a serious rise.
For years, we've heard stories of just how bad wait times at emergency rooms in BC have become. Now, new data is showing how many patients are leaving emergency rooms without receiving medical care. Data from the Ministry of Health, accessed through Freedom of Information, shows the number of patients leaving ERs without being seen is up 86% across the province since 2018. The most severe increases are in the Fraser Health Authority, which saw an 87% increase, and the Vancouver Island Health Authority, which recorded a 160% increase.
Here on Vancouver Island, we know we have a elderly demographic, and that wait times in ERs have gone from a couple hours in hospitals like the Comox Valley to now 6 to 8 hours in certain cases. And I know we're seeing that down in Victoria as well.
This Island Health document posted online in January confirms performance is significantly outside acceptable range, noting if a person sought care at an ED but left before seeing a physician, it is possible they did not receive the care they needed.
I think the risk is that someone could be having an illness that's developing, and by leaving, that illness could become worse, and they need to reattend. Or in the worst case scenario, that they do get significantly more unwell.
In a statement, the ministry said the number of patients that leave the ED without being seen is a small proportion of the total number of visits to the ED. In general, patients with lower acuity levels are more likely to leave the ED without seeing a physician. It said it has increased the number of provincially funded acute care beds by 7.9%, and that Island Health recruited 1,800 new employees in 2024. Doctors say a lack of family physicians and long wait times to see specialists are making the problem worse.
We also know that there is a human resource problem within hospitals themselves. So the patients are becoming stuck in the emergency room and unable to move into the hospital. So there's a number of different challenges that really need addressing.
Challenges Doctors of BC says they're willing to collaborate with the province on to get wait times at ERs under control. Michelle Gassoub, CBC News, Vancouver.
If you or someone you know likes to swim or jump at a popular North Shore spot, you may notice some new warnings. The District of North Vancouver has put up new signs in Lynn Canyon Park, hoping to discourage you from jumping off dangerous cliffs. Kier Junos has the story.
Well, it's a popular but dangerous summer pastime. The District of North Vancouver says over the last 50 years, 40 people have died jumping off cliffs into pools here at Lynn Canyon Park. And so it's installed these new signs with, you can call it trendy lingo. This one says, real ones keep their friends alive.
I mean, the signs are a good thing. I find that one hard to understand. If I had just read that right away, I wouldn't really have.
Yeah, I thought that was more related to plants.
Yeah.
Can you explain to your dad what is a real one?
Like someone that, like a real friend.
Is actually a friend, yeah. I get it now, but it took me a few minutes to make sense of it.
Injured in Lynn Canyon, 100% not the vibe. Spoiler alert, your viral jump ends in the hospital. Are they kind of cringe?
I guess.
In case you didn't know, cringe means embarrassing. Yes, the signs may be trying real hard, but Fire Chief Mike Dank says they're designed to get the attention of young people, and that's what's with all this trendy lingo.
The challenge that we have here is social media really pumps up these spots, and you see people that successfully jump in these areas and they get a ton of attention, and you know, it's a one-off thing in ideal conditions, and then other people think, oh, I can do that.
What that's led to is horrific injuries and emergency calls. Dank says there were 5 rescues just over the weekend, and despite the signs being up, this hiker says he still saw folks jumping in.
Skeptical.
Skeptical?
About if it would be safe or not.
Yeah.
But I think somebody went and checked. They swam and checked, but then, you know, anything can happen though.
The river is very cold. People don't realize when you jump in that river, you get a gasp reflex. That can cause you to inhale water, which can impede your breathing. There's currents there. Those currents are always changing depending on the water flow.
Danks says with the nice weather, he expects an influx of visitors to the park, and the hope is they'll stop, read these signs, and get the message, even if it is a little cringe. Keir Juneau, CBC News, North Vancouver.
Our science and climate specialist Darius Madavi here with the first look at the weather, and you've got the fire danger map out once again.
That's right, and we're starting to see a little bit of change in the southern interior, that fire danger climbing once again. Temperatures are expected to fall tomorrow, especially noticeably in the Thompson, but fire danger will likely continue to climb until we see some significant precipitation in the area. At least, you know, if we see a bit of a dip tomorrow, it'll be pretty brief. Now, in terms of the precipitation that we are seeing, we have those thunderstorms in the northeast, a few popping up in the central interior as well, just north of Revelstoke, and then also just north of Revelstoke. In terms of smoke, what we're looking at is mostly confined up in the northeast. The southeast may see a small amount of haze, as well as much of the southern interior, maybe seeing a tiny degree of haze, but for the most part, it's really confined up into the northeast for now, despite the fires that we do have ongoing in the southern interior. In terms of the precipitation we're expecting here on the south coast, we'll talk more about it later in the show, Dan, but for now, just suffice it to say, don't expect too much, but you know, a tiny bit is probably on the way.
Lowered expectations. Very good. Thanks.
Thank you.
Well, the search for BC's best symbol continues with a matchup between the legendary folklore of Ogopogo and Okanagan wine. Here's how some people cast their votes.
Across Canada, everybody seems to enjoy their BC wine, so for me, that's where it is.
Who doesn't love wine?
Probably Ogopogo.
I prefer wine. I think it's like honestly a staple in Kelowna.
Actually, wine.
I would go with the wine myself because I prefer to drink it.
There's a lot of wine places around here, and I don't think not many people will know about the Ogopogo.
I mean, Ogopogo is only in Kelowna, and wine's all throughout BC, and that's what we're known worldwide for as well.
Well, for one, I like the wines, but they're probably more well known.
BC wine. This is a symbol of fantasy. BC wine is not.
Ogopogo, because it's mystical and fairy tale-like. It's something related to nature, which I think BC is absolutely representative of. I think that's a beautiful way to celebrate the history of BC and keep some of the lore and magic alive.
That's hard.
I know.
I guess wine would be the thing.
For me, the Ogopogo is number one. Yes, for sure.
Perfect.
And this has all the best memories from like when this kid was just a baby to, 18 years later, right here.
2 so-called street preachers have been charged with hate crimes in BC after allegedly harassing people in Surrey. That story is next. A pair of so-called street preachers have been charged with hate crimes in BC after they allegedly harassed worshippers at 2 churches. As John Hernandez explains, those familiar with the men say they are heavily influenced by a cult that's known to target women. A warning for you, some viewers may find the content in this story offensive.
As soon as the women started going out to work, totally broke the backbone of Canada and America.
It became a common sight on the streets of London, Ontario years ago. 2 men wearing sandwich boards and preaching misogynistic sermons. Now they're accused of interfering with worshippers at 2 BC churches. On November 3rd, police were called to disruptions at Sunrise Church and the Hillside Christian Church in Cloverdale.
It appears that they went into these places of worship and espoused views that based on bias against someone's gender and sort of their religious beliefs.
Stephen Ravbar and Matthew Carapella, often referred to as the London Street Preachers, are charged with 2 counts of hate-motivated mischief. Court documents say the alleged crimes were motivated by bias, prejudice, or hate based on sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, or expression. The documents suggest the pair have been living out of a Langley hotel.
Stephen Ravbar actually is from that area. Matthew Carapella is from, I believe, London, Ontario. And I believe Ravbar recruited Matthew Carapella a few years back.
The pair have faced disturbance charges in both the U.S. and elsewhere in Canada. In 2022, they were convicted of public nuisance in London, Ontario.
They come right up to me and they say, oh, you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be doing that, you shouldn't be wearing pants.
I think they're actually using religion to as an excuse to say abusive things.
It was a doomsday cult.
Religious researcher John Collins says their messaging stems from a century-old American church that was founded by doomsday evangelist William Branham, a priest with close ties to the Ku Klux Klan.
The belief system is that the world is about to end. Females are the cause of its destruction, and it is closely tied to hate groups and hate ideology.
Local women's support groups are now concerned the pair appear to have settled in the Lower Mainland.
These individuals, we know, have a long history of using public spaces in order to intimidate and to degrade and also to verbally assault women.
Both men are expected to appear in a Surrey provincial court next week. If convicted, they could face up to 10 years in prison. John Hernandez, CBC News, Surrey.
Police in Abbotsford are looking into the death of a patient who'd been living in a care home in that community. As Pinky Wong reports, the investigation began when 2 people were taken to a hospital while experiencing medical emergencies.
Police say the Abbotsford Major Crime Unit is investigating what it is calling the suspicious death of a patient who had been living in a care home here in Abbotsford. Earlier this month, Abbotsford Police says Abbotsford Regional Hospital called them about 2 patients who had been transferred from mental home while experiencing medical emergencies that raised concerns due to the suspicious nature. Police say one of the patients died on July 10th. This officers call it a complex investigation.
A lot of the medical field data and information is going to form part of this investigation. Our officers don't necessarily have the skill set to decipher that, where we have to rely on specific experts that are designated through the courts.
He says mental home has been cooperative in their investigation.
We'll be obviously looking at mental home medical records. We're looking at the hospital system medical records. There's a process for us to obtain those. It's not where they naturally hand them over. There's privacy-related concerns, and it often requires us to have different judicial authorizations.
In a statement, Menlo Place CEO Sujata Connor says they are deeply concerned with the situation and have been fully supporting the police in order to prioritize resident safety. She added that additional safety measures were implemented immediately after they became aware of the situation. Pinky Wong, CBC News, Abbotsford.
There's a look at Victoria Harbour, where the sun has been shining and the seaplanes causing a stir for pedestrians on shore. 22 degrees in the capital, but will it stick around? Darius has your BC-wide forecast coming up. What began as a rally for gay rights in the 1970s has now become a popular celebration of LGBTQ+ rights. Today, July is officially recognized as Pride Month in Vancouver, celebrated with a parade and other events over the August-long weekend. By 1985, the parade, already in its fourth year, was just starting to pick up momentum. Let's take a look back at the Pride's beginnings.
Get the idea? A little outrageous, a lot of put on, a fun celebration by the gay community. There were all sorts of gay men, all sorts. There was a strong lesbian contingent. There were those with a church affiliation. And those whose affiliation was doubtful, calling themselves the Sisters of Misconception. It was a cornucopia of sexual orientation, although difficult to guess about some. The gorilla, however, is presumably gay. And of course there were the onlookers, the professionals, and the amateurs. They marched from Nelson Park down to Sunset Beach.
I think it is especially important that this year's celebration have more people turn up than ever, especially when we read the newspapers and listen to the rest of the media about what is going on in British Columbia and human rights. However, I want to remind you that we don't believe that Gay Pride Week should be a protest, but rather a celebration of our sexuality.
At Sunset Beach, there were prizes for the best costumes, and for today at least, the homosexual community was living up to its label of gay. I'm Mac Rymel.
Joining us for more is Michael Robach. Michael is Director of Development at Community, a Vancouver-based nonprofit that works to improve the lives of queer, trans, and two-spirit people. Michael, thanks for being here. Interesting and entertaining to see the parade's small beginnings 40 years ago. What goes through your mind hearing what was going on then?
Honestly, hearing that makes me feel very bittersweet. I think there's, you can hear so much queer joy, and I think Pride has always been such a celebration for our community to come together and yes, advocate and yes, fight for our rights, but also come together and be seen and be celebrated in a significant way. And that's just, it's such a lovely thing, and it's such a beautiful thing that's been able to be carried forward all these decades, really.
And from those decades, we've seen certainly the parade changed to a celebration. But for the first time this year, we're seeing the Pride organization cutting back on event sizes. The parade route has been halved, essentially. Corporate money is drying up. Why do you think this is happening?
For us, a community, and truth be told, we're not a Pride organization. We exist to deliver frontline, low-barrier mental health and social services for queer, trans, two-spirit people all across British Columbia every day of the year. And I think what we're seeing this summer with Pride, for us, doesn't really come as a massive surprise. We've been seeing the clawback of both government and corporate funding around queer and trans programming and services, even starting last year. But also, I think the narratives and the understanding of queer trans identities has become very convoluted and misunderstood in recent months, in recent years. And I think it's culminating to sort of a boiling point. And that's what we're seeing now with the Vancouver Pride Festival. I think we're seeing the echo of a lot of these conversations, all of the clawback of this funding. This is the result of that, which has really put us in a difficult situation in which financially operating a festival like Vancouver Pride has been tough, but also the conversation around identity and sexuality just feels very different this year than it has in a long time.
And in that climate, then, why, for you and others, is Pride more, if we can call it this, more important than ever?
I mean, I think it's more important than ever as a vessel for conversation and advocacy, right? I think, and thinking back about early days of Pride and sort of where, since then, we've often had this expression of it gets better. And in a lot of these spaces, unfortunately, it's actually getting worse. We're losing, legal rights within the systems here across Canada. And we're seeing this in Alberta. We're seeing this in other places in Canada. I think the sort of tension arising from that can be sort of like taken down through education, through awareness, through conversation. And I think it's so important now more than ever for us to continue to hold those conversations and to create a safe space for allies to learn and for queer and trans people to come together and know that they belong here, that there's a space here for them, and that they can feel safe here in British Columbia. They very much deserve to be here just as much as anyone else, really.
And lastly, we understand Communities is getting an upgrade. Tell us about this building you're moving to.
Oh, we're very excited. I mean, we were founded in 1979. We're one of the oldest LGBTQ organizations in Canada, and we've been operating out of a small 3,000 square foot office in Davie Village here in Vancouver. And for the last 30 years, advocates and individuals in community and in government have been working towards a very significant project, which is our move into 13,000 square feet of purpose-built space for queer, trans, and two-spirit people. And that dream is coming to life. In 2027, we will be moving into this new home on the corner of Davie and Burrard. The construction's already underway. We're launching a pretty significant capital campaign to operationalize the space. And it's such a significant moment, not just for us here in Vancouver and in British Columbia, but in Canada, that in times like these, queer and trans people persevere, and there is hope and there is queer joy here, and we're very excited to carry that forward.
Michael Roback, Director of Development at Community, we appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
An Ontario judge has acquitted 5 former World Junior hockey players in a high-profile sexual assault case. She's determined that the complainant's allegations against the men lacked credibility. Ellie Chiasson has more on the verdict and the reaction to it.
It is a landmark ruling in what was already such a high-profile case, given the accusations and the former NHLers who were accused here. Today, there's both relief and outrage. This morning, EM supporters shouted down the accused for one last time as each walked into court to learn their fate. They had supporters too.
Not guilty!
That was ultimately Justice Maria Caricia's decision, and it was clear from the outset, early in her ruling, reading, quote, "I conclude that the Crown cannot meet its onus on any of the counts before me." Outside court, defense attorneys spoke to the media.
Justice Caricia rejected EM's claims of fear and her claims of non-consent. That should be the takeaway from today's judgment.
Their clients left out of a separate exit. The Crown, meantime.
We will carefully review Justice Caricia's decision. And as this case is still within the appeal period, we have no further comments to make about the decision at this time. Thank you very much for your time.
The Crown attorneys didn't comment whether they would be appealing the judge's decision. We did hear from the woman at the center of all this through her lawyer.
I expect many people understand that when a person summons the courage to disclose their story, the worst possible outcome is to feel disbelieved. It's a gutting experience that no one deserves. That's why today's verdict is so devastating.
What happens next? Those hockey players leave and move on with their lives. It's unclear whether they will be able to salvage a professional hockey playing career. As for EM, as we've only known her as, this chapter from 7 years ago is closed, and it's unclear where she goes from here. Ellie Chiasson, CBC News, London, Ontario.
Prime Minister Mark Carney is in Canada's Arctic to meet with Inuit leaders. They discuss the One Canadian Economy Act, also known as Bill 5, C5, I should say. As David Thurton reports, it allows Ottawa to designate certain projects as being in the national interest and bypass some rules to fast-track the projects.
This is the first time that Prime Minister Mark Carney and Inuit leaders are holding high-level political discussions. On the agenda, Arctic sovereignty, defense, healthcare. Mark Carney also announced he will be appointing Canada's first Arctic ambassador. But much of this meeting will focus on the government's new legislation to fast-track major projects, to build big things and to build them fast. The new law would provide upfront approvals before the Crown completes its duty to consult with Indigenous peoples. The Prime Minister addressed concerns around that.
To be absolutely clear, C5 fully respects modern treaty, all treaty rights, modern treaty rights, and environmental assessment consistent with those treaty rights is one of the things we'll discuss directly.
At the start of the meeting, not everyone was satisfied with those assurances. Inuit wanted clarification on what that really means. Before the meeting was over, they seemed to have received that.
He was unequivocal in stating that this legislation will not interrupt the processes that have been set up under our modern treaties when it comes to environmental assessment, when it comes to project reviews.
Inuit leaders say the North has massive infrastructure gaps. It needs nation-building developments such as deep water ports, transmission lines, and high-speed internet. But they want it on their terms. David Thornton, CBC News, Inuvik.
Many Canadians have been choosing to shop for products made here since Donald Trump began the trade war in February. But as Sophia Harris explains, sometimes the Buy Canadian label is just the opposite.
Stacey Deneen is all in on the Buy Canadian movement, especially for food. But she loses her appetite when it's mislabeled, like this broccoli, advertised at her local Sobeys store as a product of Canada.
I was pretty excited, except that when I picked it up and read the tag shows product of USA. That frustrates me. It makes me feel misled.
According to the Canadian Food Inspection Agency, in the past 8.5 months, the agency has identified 29 complaint-driven cases related to country of origin claims for food where companies violated the rules. The CFIA says most of the cases involve bulk produce sold in stores. CBC News went shopping and found several cases of mislabeled bulk and packaged produce, like these blueberries at a Sobeys store, advertised as product of Canada, but the packaging stated product of USA.
That's mislabeled, that's false advertising, right? That's not consistent.
At a Loblaw-owned No Frills, these strawberries were branded with the maple leaf, plus a prepared in Canada declaration, but the packaging said product of USA. After CBC News reached out to Loblaw about this, the signage was gone.
Why would you put a maple leaf on a product that very clearly is imported? It just erodes the trust.
Beyond the produce aisle, both Deneen and CBC discovered this at Sobeys stores. Raw imported almonds, promoted as made in Canada and marked with a maple leaf, but
we don't grow almonds in this country. Those should not meet the made in Canada threshold.
Sobeys didn't answer questions about the raw almonds, but the grocer and Loblaw told CBC News they strive for accurate country of origin labeling, but that mistakes can happen when dealing with mass inventory and constantly changing suppliers.
It might be unreasonable to expect them to get it right every time.
If the retailers but this food labeling expert says big grocers are spending big money on patriotic ads.
Canadian isn't just in our name.
And have had enough time to iron out the wrinkles.
Just having a marketing campaign without having the correct information behind the scenes really, I think, does a disservice to all consumers.
As for Deneen, she'll keep checking the fine print to make sure she knows where her food is coming from. Sophia Harris, CBC News, Toronto.
The U.S. Deputy Attorney General has reportedly met with Jeffrey Epstein accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell in Florida. She is serving 20 years in prison for sex trafficking. This comes as reports have emerged that Donald Trump was informed in May that he is mentioned in what's known as the Epstein files. Jagruti Dave has the latest from Washington.
The Trump administration's handling of the so-called Epstein files is a story dominating headlines around the world. The latest development, a Wall Street Journal report saying Attorney General Pam Bondi told the president in May that his name appeared alongside other high-profile people in Justice Department documents relating to Jeffrey Epstein. The Journal notes that being mentioned in the records isn't an indication of wrongdoing. But it contradicts President Trump's previous denial that Bondi mentioned his name appearing on a list. The White House is calling this another fake news story, with the president earlier this week hoping to deflect attention away from the whole saga, accusing Barack Obama of fabricating intelligence, showing Russia tried to help Mr. Trump win the 2016 election.
This was treason. This was every word you can think of. They tried to steal the election. They tried to obfuscate the election.
But the president's own supporters have been keeping the Epstein story alive, recalling Mr. Trump's promise on the campaign trail to release more Epstein files. They were furious at the Department of Justice and the FBI for saying in July they wouldn't be releasing any more files and that there was no evidence of an Epstein client list. The DOJ has since been trying to prove its commitment to transparency, interviewing Epstein's longtime associate Ghislaine Maxwell, who's currently serving a 20-year prison sentence in Tallahassee. The issue has taken centre stage in Congress as well. The House Oversight Subcommittee voted on Wednesday to subpoena the Department of Justice for files on Jeffrey Epstein, an unexpected move pushing back against House Speaker Johnson's attempts to kick votes on the Epstein files into the long grass. Jagrati Dave for CBC News, Washington.
It's no secret that drinking heavily can be a bit hard on your liver. Now, new research shows that alcohol-related liver disease is seeing a spike in some demographics. Who's most impacted? We'll tell you after the break. Darius Madavi is here with a BC-wide weather forecast, and we see more of that thunderstorm warning
That's right. Some severe thunderstorm watches and warnings in place, especially up in the northeast, but as well a little pocket just above Kamloops and Thompson. High concentrations of lightning here, but much less widespread than we've seen in recent days. Tomorrow, we also have some minor thunderstorm risk across much of the interior, but expected to be less severe than today and especially earlier this week. The other thing I wanted to note, down in Grand Forks, along the border, we have a highway closure, Highway 3, because of a forest fire there. Keeping a close eye on that. Hopefully it'll reopen soon, but in the meantime, there is a detour available. This is what we're looking at in terms of bigger picture weather patterns. And if we take a look here, we can look at the forecast. That low that is bringing that lightning continuing to move across the prairies. Meanwhile, the high pressure will start to win out again over southwestern BC once we get into late weekend, early next week. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, expect to start to see more sunshine once again, and those temperatures climb again pretty quickly. Once that low that's been influencing the coast, or will be influencing the coast, brings some cloud in tomorrow, starts to move away. In terms of temperatures, those start to fall a little bit tomorrow in much of the southern interior, especially in places like Kamloops, coming down to 23 tomorrow. Quite a significant drop, almost 10 degrees. Parts of the southeast will also start to come down by Saturday. And once we get into Sunday, those temperatures will slowly start to recover, especially here on the coast, but in the southern interior as well. Here you can see that precipitation that is moving across the northeast as a result of that low pressure system. Things remain unsettled in the rest of the interior, which is why we see those small amounts of precipitation pop up, including some that may make it down from the Alpine and Whistler down towards Vancouver. And that's why if we look at our accumulation forecast, you can see, again, highest up in the northeast, some scattered stuff moving down along the more southern areas as well. And if we zoom in here, that small amount that is making it down to Whistler, potentially making it down to Vancouver as well. For the most part, on the island, too, we're not really looking at much precipitation, just trace amounts. This light green color here, that means like less than 1 millimeter of rainfall that we're expecting. So you can see those higher elevations on parts of the island, as well as here in Vancouver. We may see a little bit more precipitation, like up to maybe 5 millimeters. But for the most part, we're looking at very little, Dan. And so expect just trace amounts across most areas, unless you're on the North Shore. Bit of smoke in the northeast and in the southeast tomorrow. A few thunderstorms still possible. And here's our 5-day forecast. A couple cloudy days ahead. That slight chance of some trace amounts of rain. And then the sun comes back out by Sunday.
Okay, Darius, thanks very much.
Thank you.
1 year has now passed since a wildfire reached the town of Jasper, Alberta. It swept through neighborhoods, destroyed hundreds of homes and businesses. Julia Wong now with a continued psychological toll of that traumatic experience.
Look at the beautiful nature.
Yes. Melody Gabbery-Scott says experiencing Jasper's natural beauty continues to help her recover 1 year after the devastating wildfire that changed so many lives.
The first time we came back, I was like vibrating inside, shaking. It was terrible. And that's all I could say. This is terrible.
She lost her house in the fire and is still coming to terms with it.
The fire affected our mental health and our physical health too.
Roughly 5,000 people live in Jasper, and processing this destruction has been hard, even more so for those who also had to respond to the wildfire.
As Jasperites, it's a story of resilience.
Jasper's incident commander, Christine Nadon, lost her home, as did several firefighters and other first responders. Now, help for them comes in-house.
Like our department is working with a psychologist for follow-ups and assessments and making sure that we give our members everything we possibly can.
Help is also available for other residents. The Red Cross says financial help for therapy will be available as long as it's needed.
It's really the right thing to do, and people need that support. At the end of the day, that could be counseling, that could be, a traditional healer.
It really depends on, I guess, what you do at the moment now.
Jasperites can do a few things to help them on their recovery journey, says this psychologist.
You focus on what you can do in the now, and you look at those goals, those short-term goals, and you put your energies there, because really that's what you have control over.
For Gabbery-Scott, that means channeling her energy into walks, exercise, and being with her community.
Focusing on being grateful for what we have and grateful to all the people that have supported us.
Support as the community marks a somber anniversary. Julia Wong, CBC News, Jasper, Alberta.
New research indicates alcohol-related liver disease is rising among some drinkers. Christine Burak shows us who is most at risk and looks at the latest health warnings around drinking.
New research suggests who's drinking heavily matters as much as the number of drinks.
One of the most common things, unfortunately, when I see a new patient and we diagnose them with cirrhosis from alcohol, and they say, well, I don't drink that much.
The study tracked roughly 44,000 American adults over 20 years and found rates of serious liver scarring more than doubled among heavy drinkers and nearly tripled in those aged 35 to 65. Why the increase? Researchers point to the shifting demographics of drinkers, including more older adults, women, lower-income individuals, and those with metabolic syndrome such as obesity, high blood pressure, and blood sugar, groups known to be at higher risk for liver disease.
This should really be a wake-up call, not only for doctors, but really the lay public, about understanding what the risk of liver disease is based off of your alcohol consumption.
But a lot of people don't even understand what is a drink.
Health Canada says a standard drink contains roughly 13 grams of pure alcohol, which is about the same as a bottle of beer, a 5% can of cider, small glass of wine, or about a shot. But grams is not a measurement found on labels in Canada.
I'll have one serving, that's about it. But I have no idea how many grams they are.
I definitely want to know because it's like something, once you know, you can control the way you drink.
Some European governments are planning to label grams and serving sizes.
In general, a bottle of wine, if you consume a bottle of wine, that has usually about 7 standard drinks in it.
Half a bottle a day is considered heavy drinking.
How I hosted an aesthetic girls' day gathering.
Heavy drinking among Canadian women has increased over the past 2 decades.
Boozy, liquid, cotton candy.
With endless marketing and sugary drinks, doctors worry the silent epidemic of liver disease,
now we're gonna do orange push pop,
may get worse. Christine Birak, CBC News, Toronto.
One of the WWE's most famous figures has died. More on the life of Hulk Hogan, from the ring to racist comments to politics.
Hi, I'm Amy Bell, and here's what's in your CBC inbox.
Join the CBC team on Sunday, August 3rd at the Vancouver Pride Parade. And afterwards, be sure to stop by the CBC tent to win some swag at the Vancouver Pride Festival. And the search is on for BC's best symbol. The bracket is heating up as we hunt for the best icon to represent British Columbia. Be sure to vote for your favorites at cbc.ca/bestsymbolbc.
Wrestling superstar Hulk Hogan has died. World Wrestling Entertainment announced his death earlier in the day, indicating he'd suffered cardiac arrest. Hogan helped turn wrestling into a global phenomenon in the 1980s.
You know something, Gene? They proved it to themselves. All I asked was for the whole WWF to stand behind the Hulkster, and I told them I'd bring it home for the USA. You know something, Gene? It is the dream of a lifetime, Daddy.
Hogan, whose real name was Terry Bollea, was WWE champion 6 times. His name was synonymous with the annual WrestleMania extravaganza. His popularity transcended the sport in the 90s when he appeared in several movies. Hogan was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2005, but removed 10 years later for using a racial slur. He was reinstated in 2018 and in recent years became a vocal supporter of Donald Trump. Hulk Hogan was 71. He's survived by his wife and 2 children. Thanks for being with us tonight on CBC Vancouver News at 6. You can watch this newscast on CBC Gem, our free app, as well as on YouTube and, of course, our website, cbc.ca/BC. We'll have your next local news at 11 o'clock, right after the National. Good night.